So you get a bunch of quests, which tells an incredibly cool story, and then it opens up this sort of, first of all, it changes the entire area. So it actually puts up some visual fucking progression in the area that you're in. So there's now actually visual progression. Does it fit with the castle? Not so much, but but let's not criticize the decor. And now you have these quests that you can do, like dailies. I'm assuming this is sort of a daily sign of some kind. Ramika, thanks for the 2 months up. Really appreciate that. 2 months in a row. Thank you. So you're actually unlocking daily end-game kind of content through a story. So it's not just like, oh, you're max level now, congratulations, go grind your fucking ass off. It's more a case of, so you did this story, they give you a reason why this story exists, and obviously if you're max level, this is now what you're going to be doing, right? This is what you're going to be running. You're going to be running these quests, grinding for the cosmetics or the rewards that might be in there. It's such a cool way of doing sort of repeatable content, because you now have an actual reason why you have to do it. Now, my question to you would be, chat, is there any more visual, shall we say, upgrades that happen as you move up from friendly to revered or whatever the other things is? Like, do you see more visual progression as you continue going? See, that's what proper world building is all about. And this is the thing that I've spoken about how much now with World of Warcraft, where you will grind out to Exalted in World of Warcraft. The quests don't change, the types of quests don't change, and nothing about the world changes. You're told at the end that now you've done the big quest and you can now kill the big boss. But even after killing it's all the same. None of that's ever going to change. It's going to be exactly the same place as it has always been. The stories will always be there, or the quests will always be there. The same mobs will always be there. Nothing changes. And that makes a world feel really empty. It just because you can imagine if you're doing a bunch of things every single day, you want to see some kind of change. You want to see some kind of change, some effect that you're having on the world around you. World of Warcraft's world is kind of like imaginary. You do a lot of things, and then you have to imagine that those things actually played a part in how the world is shaped now, even though it isn't. Let's just repeat. Once you get maxed? Well, of course they will just repeat because it's quests, stuff to do. But the visual progression is what I talk about when I say, so you have, if I open the map now, here's how stories work. In here, we have the main storyline. Yeah, this is main storyline. Everyone agrees with it. No problem. This is what tells the main story. Then you have these, which, as you guys have informed me, these are sort of zone quests. Some of them is just basic, boring side quests that you get in almost every single game. Just kill a bunch of stuff, bring it back. Maybe there's a reward, maybe there isn't. Some of them actually have some really cool, cute stories in them that you can play as well. So it really depends. Yeah. Then you have, if I could find one of those blue quests. Not sure if I will, but I don't think I have a blue quest in this area, though. Not right now, anyways. But you'll eventually get some blue quests. So I guess I have to be in the zone to see the blue quest. But you'll eventually you'll have blue quests. Those are like story quests that unlock things. So it will unlock your dungeons. It will unlock flying, stuff like that. Blue quests, again, not really a problem. And then you have something that a lot of games don't do at all. This thing that you see here, this is also a quest. This is also a story. This entire map is a story. Your world needs to tell its own stories. If a world doesn't tell a story, then what is the point of having a story in the first place? Because your main quests are going to tell a story, sure. Your side quests are going to tell a story, of course. Your zone quests might tell a story. But if the world itself is not involved in that story, then all of this becomes superficial, artificial, and very difficult to believe. If I'm going to kill someone and that person's death isn't going to have any notable effect on what I've done, what is the point? So in Final Fantasy, I love the fact that they so even with repeat content, they try to find ways of explaining the repeat content. So I love this specifically with the primals in the ARR experience, where when they give you the harder primals, they actually explain it with the beast tribes have gathered even more crystals and are now ramping up their summoning of their primals because they're feeling more and more under threat. Every single time you kill one of their primals, they feel more threatened, and then they'll summon even more primals. So they're trying to explain why certain things keep happening, right? And why you could repeat something so many times and it would not break the lore in any way, shape, or form. Now, I realize they can't do that with everything. Although, speaking of the Alexander raid, which is the only real raid that I've done so far, they put the Alexander raid inside a time loop, which explains why you can consistently do the Alexander raid, because the time loop just consistently loops in on itself, right? And so it's kind of like they really try and focus on not breaking immersion at any given point in time. So regardless of what they put in the game, they always try to stick to some kind of immersion needs to remain. And it's fantastic. This is what you want to see. Yeah, I did Heavensward, but this is what you want to see from games. It is that sort of world-building idea. The idea that the world itself is a story that wants to be told. It's the main reason I get so fed up with World of Warcraft, because in WoW, its world no longer tells a story. All of this stuff in WoW is slapped on top of the world. The world simply serves as the plate that it is slapped on top of. Those things can be completely interchangeable and it wouldn't matter. You can take any world quest in World of Warcraft, put it in any zone you want, and it would be fine. Doesn't matter. The world quest and the zone is busy work. In the best of terms, it is busy work, which is so fucking annoying. So, Rumika, to answer that question, does the quests affect the world in World of Warcraft? Yes and no. The quests affect the world insofar as, again, you have to imagine it. So you imagine that the quests... so I'll give you guys a great example. Orgrimmar went through an entire war, and after it, they were sort of rebuilding Orgrimmar. The story of Orgrimmar's rebuilding is non-existent. Just for a few expansions, Orgrimmar was still being rebuilt. I don't know if Orgrimmar is fully built now, I can't remember. That's how little it matters. But it was literally just a bunch of scaffolding, and you kind of just had to wait for for Orgrimmar to be rebuilt. There was no visual progression, maybe saying as a developer, look, we're gonna take 5 expansions to rebuild Orgrimmar the way that we want it, and we're gonna have the player with every single patch for those 5 expansions do a small little quest line that gets another part of Orgrimmar rebuilt. So if you respect your world, this is what you would do. You would involve the player in the rebuilding process. Because, I mean, it's part of the world. The players in that world, they should be part of the rebuilding process. And those people that don't give a fuck about it, of course, let them not give a fuck about it. But for those that care, let them actually do it. Let them actually be a part of it, you know? In World of Warcraft, the quests matter, but not the world does not reflect the mattering of quests. Because quests will happen, they'll tell you, oh my god, thank you so much for saving us, and then that's the end of it. Nothing is updated. Visually, there's no progression whatsoever for the world. There's been a few times where there's been some world progression, so Suramar is a great example of some progression in the world actually happening, but that's few and far between. Getting actual places that reflect your progress throughout the world is very rare. Very rare. And yeah, you have the Doman reconstruction, you have the Ishgard reconstruction that apparently players also managed to see. You also have the Rising Stones that I apparently no one really have footage of the original Rising Stones, but the Rising Stones was an actual thing, you know. So there's a bunch of examples in FF14 of them saying, wait a second, if we're gonna have these quests that sort of build our map, then the map needs to reflect what we're doing in the quests. The maps can't just be slapped on top of it. That's not gonna work. We need the world to actually display what we're busy doing here. And it's sad that it doesn't do that in WoW.